All right, Jesse on fire. Welcome back. So I told you yesterday I was going to have a video for you guys about the Epstein properties, and oh my God, am I going to deliver on this video? Absolutely, I'm going to deliver. Okay. So yesterday I told you that I had watched a documentary that was going over Epstein's New Mexico property. That I think all the skeletons are buried there. I don't even, honestly, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Who is on the list is not even the number one priority for me anymore. I want to know exactly what they were actually doing, because just bringing in these kids, okay, bringing in the kids and then feeding them to politicians, I can't even believe I'm going to say this. I think it's like the barely tip of the iceberg of what was actually going on. And I'm going to show you exactly where I'm pulling that from. And then we're going to look at the Manhattan. Then today, literally the next day, total coincidence, okay? Like the information about the New Mexico stuff has been out, very difficult to find. I'm going to show you where I got it. And then today, out of nowhere, we get a look into his Manhattan layer, okay? So like we're going to get to look at two of his properties today. We got a lot to get to, so I'm going to go ahead and rock and roll. But I cannot even stress to you enough how bananas this is, okay? So this is the video that I referenced yesterday, okay? And so we're going to start with this. Oh, I'm sorry. This is not that. This is the one I'm going to do in a separate video about how they were like, what's his name? The guy who was the French dude, who was the guy who ran the modeling agency and also in jail. Sure, he did. Okay. That other, Jesus, I have so much Epstein stuff, man. We're going to look at that later. This is the one that I'm referencing. Okay. So just to give you a small bit of pretext going into this. Okay. So what this is about, the New Mexico property, enormous. We're talking like, I think it was like 35,000 square feet or something like that. 35 or more. Actually, what they know about is 35,000 square feet, because where we're going is what is actually likely to be this New Mexico property is it's one of those apocalypse bases that's built straight underground. Like it's one of those places where like all these rich and powerful people are going to go in the event of global calamity. They're going to go into the middle of the New Mexico desert. There's like, I'm pretty sure it's 7.5 miles or something like that in every direction to get to any kind of civilization whatsoever. No one is getting there without vehicles, okay? It's already currently under such incredible security that it'll blow your mind. And when we get into what is in there, so what I skipped, think about this. What I'm skipping past in this video, because I got to get to the more important stuff, is that there were fertility rooms and basically everything having to do with, the kind of like gross sex stuff. I'm skipping all of that, okay? Because that is less interesting than what we're going to look at right now, okay? So where all of this came from is from people who verifiably either worked there or had visited there. They took pictures, they told stories, whatever. But check this out. What we are hypothesizing about, honestly, there is a high probability. I'm going to say this right now. If I had to bet where Jeffrey Epstein is right now, I think he's here. I think he is literally currently at this New Mexico property. I think he walked out of that jail. I think he's at the New Mexico property. There's still tons of security there. This is where I think he is. And I think it's an underground base, and I'll show you exactly why. All right. So I'm going to show you all of that stuff. We're going to get into it. Go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet, because I got a lot of other stuff coming. You're definitely 100% going to want to watch this. Okay. This one is about the models. Okay. This is about like the models in France and this horrific stuff and like how this network all worked together. I had never seen this, and the girl who is narrating this is one of the girls that this happened to. I believe her 100% too, and you will too when you watch it. Okay, so subscribe to the channel and then ring the bell so you'll know when those things come out. All right, let's rock and roll. Like I said, this one right here is for another day. We're going to get into this. Oh, and by the way, very, very important note, okay? This channel, Coop, okay? Coop. Trust me, you're going to want to go and follow this guy because here's what my comment was. 100% make more of these, and he is going to, and you're not going to want to miss these. And I want to give him some shine because he did incredible work. All right, let's jump into this thing.
So with that verified, another very curious question arises. The computer rooms were only a small section of what the victims claimed were underground. In addition to that, victims and employees claimed there was something much, much more. In fact, Maria Farmer testified that Epstein told her that there was not only computer rooms down there for monitoring the animals, guests staying there, but there were also tunnels and essentially an entire complex of rooms beneath the house that no one knew about.
No one was allowed down there. Okay, so earlier, some of the stuff that I skipped over, this is a 30-minute documentary. Obviously, I'm not going to show you the whole thing by any stretch, but one of the things that was skipped over earlier was that a contractor who was in charge of taking care of the property when they were not there said that there were these like staircases that went down that no one was ever allowed to go on, and the entire place is wired for recording, sound, video, etc., and like no one would ever dare betray or not follow the rules. He also said that when he put in his 2 weeks, that Epstein kept trying to get him to go to the island. He's like, you got to come with me to the island, man. We're friends now. And he said that he was convinced if he went to the island, he never would have come back.
It's difficult and I dare say impossible to even get within range of Zorro Ranch with a drone. But one valiant creator did try. A humble book review channel I like to watch was driving by with his family on a road trip and thought it would make for an interesting stop. And this was in 2023, 4 years after Epstein allegedly passed on. Upon stopping on the shoulder of the highway, which is completely legal, he took out his drone to fly and after a few minutes was over the house. And in his own words, he knew at that moment he was in a bad spot. While flying the drone around the house, he spotted a red security truck driving at him through the drone's camera. And I'll let him describe what happened next.
Had someone come out to my car, found us, immediately knew where we were on the road, and approached our car. The guy had his hand behind his back, looked like he was about to draw on us, and then he got up to the car and realized I had my whole family in there. So it was very, very strange.
So even in 2023,
in 2023, what on earth is security doing at that property exactly? What are they doing there? It was supposedly owned by Jeffrey Epstein, who's been dead for 4 years. So what are they doing there? Security that reacts that fast to a single drone, and then they go and find them because the entire area is monitored, right? They probably have satellites monitoring it. Honestly, you're talking, I still think people don't even understand what we're actually dealing with here.
4 years after Jeffrey Epstein allegedly met his end at his own hand, the property was still so heavily guarded that even just a random drone flown by a dude in a UFO shirt with his family warranted them to come out armed, ready to encounter any threats. Odd, but the other reason it's worth mentioning is because our friend managed to get some interesting angles of the property, namely this one side of the house, which in all the pictures online, which are few and far between, it's depicted at a distance, making it impossible to zoom in on. And that's likely because of what was seen. If you look closely, our narrator points out what appear to be 5 vent covers coming out of the side of Epstein's property. 5 is a lot of vents, too many for even a very large underground room, but enough for many different underground structures, such as the underground tunnels and secret rooms that employees and victims attested to at Epstein's home, along with Epstein himself, who bragged that these existed at all of his properties. Now feel free to call me a lunatic or a conspiracy nut. I love cashews, but you may not be thinking it's so crazy after I tell you this little factoid. Epstein, as you may assume, was a member of several boards and organizations, which is very common for wealthy people. But not so common is one distinct company that Epstein was on the advisory board for. That being the Lifeboat Foundation, which is a company that is dedicated, according to their front page, to safeguarding humanity. The site houses a bunch of different articles on the work they do. However, the one that intrigues us most is their underground structures and bunker building project dedicated to building entire homes beneath the Earth's surface with the goal of mastering a system of making them all incredibly safe and self-sufficient. And on their list of board members, we find Jeffrey Epstein. For the sake of fairness, he actually appears on the list twice, serving on 2 different boards. The first board is entitled Futurists, a category as vague as the following description. This board discusses possible futures, including benefits we should try to achieve and risks we should try to avoid.
And that is just the beginning of this. Now, I can't stress enough. Do you understand how easy it would be for a person like this to disappear? You know, like if you, all he has to do is just get out of that one building, just get out of the jail, get out of MDCC or MDC, whatever it was he's in. And he's on the board of one of the leading company that builds these billionaire bunkers. Okay. No one would ever see him again. No one would ever see him ever again. That's what these bunkers are built for. And if they happen to be at the New Mexico property, right? If that is a bunker, you know what I mean? What is all that security doing there? What is all that security still doing there if it's not a bunker?
And he was also on the finance board, which discusses money, obviously. However, the lifeboat organization did not seem to like being associated with him, in spite of how much money he may have given, so Epstein has been scrubbed entirely from their site, but not from the archives online where his name can still be discovered. But no matter how much bleach they use, we can't deny the fact that Epstein was on the board of a company dedicated to various methods for the safeguarding of mankind, including the building of bunkers and other subterranean structures. So maybe those vents our good friend spotted with his drone aren't quite so silly after all, and that's why there's no close-up shots of the house from that side. And the tunnels and secret rooms beneath his house that Epstein bragged about to little girls while raping them, well, those might be real as well.
It's built directly on the top of a mountain. That's what they do. Okay, like that is how they build these bunkers. They are all built into the side of mountains or down into mountains. That is exactly how they do it. That's why, like, if you look at the bunker busters that we used when we hit Iran, okay, like if you go back just a second so you can actually see this, right? Like when you look at this, okay, when you look at the satellite imaging of the bunker busters we used when we hit Iran, they flattened these mountains. That's exactly where you build these underground bunkers and look at, if you're going to build a billionaire lifeboat, apocalyptic, self-sustaining bunker, does that look like that might be probably a pretty good spot for one with vents all around the property indicating underground structures? I'm just saying, dude. All right, we got a lot more to come, and wait until you see what is in his Manhattan apartment that is out in the New York Post and the New York Times today. But first, I want to tell you about the sponsor of this video and give you guys the opportunity to make $50 real quick. Now, if I told you that you could make $50 for free if you take 90 seconds of your time to do something, it's something that you would do, especially if the 90 seconds is going to be something fun. Because that's exactly what PrizePicks and I are offering you right now. I want to be very clear. There is no gimmick here. There's no chance where this does not lead to $50 free for you. There's nothing you have to pick right. There's no game you have to win. If you play a $5 roster on PrizePicks, you will get $50 into your account whether you win or lose the roster that you entered. How much you can win in addition to the automatic $50 depends on the size of the roster that you pick, but I'll let you play around with that a little bit. Now, you also could try to win real big and play more than $5, but you don't have to. Take a look over here. Look at what I stand to win if I hit this roster. Hold me accountable to this. I'm putting it on my channel. I'm putting my face on it. Hold me accountable, and also hold me accountable to this. This game is super fun. You're going to want to play. As you can see on the left side of the screen, all you do is go through the athletes that you want to pick in a specific sport. In this case, we're doing UFC because my girl Rose Namajunas is fighting on Saturday. In addition to MMA, they have college basketball, college football, NBA, NFL, any sport you can think of, you can play on PrizePicks. Now, in the roster you see over here, this is obviously a UFC roster. I'm playing a $5 game, which means if this was my first game, I would see a free $50 put into my account the second that the game starts. So come join me for PrizePicks. It's an amazing game. You'll be supporting my channel and you'll be getting free money. Also, look at my roster, take a screenshot, and then you can see how I did. And also, I want to know who you guys are picking. Send me your rosters if you want. Link is in the description. Use promo code JesseOnFire for the $50 bonus. And that is what it is. Let's go ahead and continue, though. There's a lot more to get to here, so let's rock.
Up to this point, I hope I've given you some information that you may have never heard before, or at least provoke some new thoughts. But now it's time to kick it up a notch. All this discussion of subterranean structures and debauchery at such a scale to make Sodom and Gomorrah blush made me wonder what else we're missing about Epstein. After all, we are here for the lesser known facts. Many of you may be familiar with the Epstein of 2020, a very much so hated man, but I would say it was not always that way. In fact, he was in Cosmopolitan's Bachelor of the Month on July 1st of 1980, described as a New York dynamo looking for a quote cute Texas girl. And I'd say Texas girls probably dodged a bullet, but I prefer these descriptions of the fellow better. The source material is in the description. These are the excerpts from the 28th of October 2002 edition of the New York Magazine, who got a personal interview with Epstein himself and those who knew him. And this was a big deal because at the time, Epstein was considered somewhat of an international man of mystery, with people wondering where his money came from and how he made such good friends like Les Wexner and how he made such a quick rise to the top. And this is what they have to say about Epstein in the magazine. The wizard that meets the eye is spare and fit with a long jaw and carefully coiffed head of silver hair. He looks like a taller, younger Ralph Lauren. A raspy Brooklyn accent betrays his Coney Island origins. He's an enthusiastic member of the Trilateral Commission and the Council on Foreign Relations. Here's the thing.
He's a member of the Trilateral Commission? No way. That's insane. I had no idea that. I missed that when I watched this, dude. You guys know what that is? a private non-government forum founded in 1973 by David Rockefeller. Guys, is this starting to come together like what Epstein really is? This guy is like the chosen one, dude. What year was that, dude? He was like in 1980. So what, he was like in his mid 30s and he got put on the Trilateral Commission. This dude is a Rothschild's Rockefeller guy. Like touched by the actual gods of the world. That is wild. If you see me getting quiet, I'm like, do I want to be talking about this, dude? Honestly, like, that is, man, that is, I am at a loss right there.
About Epstein, as some collect butterflies, he collects beautiful minds. I invest in people, be it politics or science. It's what I do, he said to friends. And his latest prize edition is the former president, Clinton. But it is his covey of scientists that inspires Epstein's true rapture. Epstein spends $20 million a year on them, encouraging them to engage in whatever kind of cutting-edge research might attract their fancy. They are, of course, quite lavish in their praise in return. Gerald Edelman won the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine in 19...
Honestly, I'm like, I'm triple tracking right now. I'm thinking about how the Epstein, like, it's so crazy to think about. This Epstein list, all this song and dance that's going on right now, this is all a nothing burger. Like, yeah, we're going to uncover some people who got compromised by touching kids and we should throw them in prison. Absolutely. And it's never a nothing burger when you're actually, protecting kids. But that is like the barely tip of the iceberg of this guy. Okay. I cannot believe he's on the Trilateral Commission. That is so bananas, dude. People think that this guy was just like, they're writing about him like he's some dumbbell. They're like, oh yeah, he was just some dumbbell that was blah, blah, blah. It's like, maybe, but the reason that this is getting buried is because this is an okay. How do I even put this? Do you hear people talk about the Rockefellers anymore? Okay. Do you hear a lot about like the Rockefeller family? Like really, I'm being totally serious. Like, are they big public figures, right? The Rothschilds family, okay, outside of people who watch stuff like, certain channels that still talk about them, are they part of the mainstream media narrative at all? No. You hear about Elon Musk, you hear about Bill Gates, you hear about people like that, right? Like you don't hear about the Rothschilds, you don't hear about the Rockefellers. That's by design. Okay? They are an invisible hand. They own everything. They own everything. Everything. They own everything. Okay. Just the same way that like BlackRock owns everything, whatever. I don't know enough about the BlackRock. Now I want to watch some stuff about BlackRock and see if BlackRock is essentially also them because they own everything. And this is like, we tapped into a thing that is an invisible hand that actually runs everything. And Epstein is like this tiny little person who pops his head up and he's involved in all the stuff they're involved in. But his actual role is to suck in other powerful people so they can make sure that they can control them. They are the invisible hand that controls everything. People are thinking that, here's what I mean about the Epstein is, people think that if we go and we start tapping on the heads of people who were compromised through the Epstein thing, that's going to change something. And what I'm saying is all you're going to do is you're going to punish people who victimize kids, and that's great. We should absolutely do that. But what I'm saying is like the infrastructure that runs the world is unaffected by anything that we do with Epstein. Okay. We're not going to get to them. We're not going to get to them. That's not a thing that's going to happen. You're not like, this is too big. Okay. We have a make-believe system. Like it matters. Like they make big decisions, whatever. But the reason nothing ever changes is because they're not actually in charge. They're not really in charge. This is crazy, dude. All right. Now let me go back. Actually, let me show you some stuff from the inside of that house, and then we're going to move over to his New York apartment. All right. So check out some of this stuff. Like this is the contractor who was in charge of the house.
He's in very early 2000s. The first was a man that Epstein had around in order to manage the property's repairs and any general work that needed to be done, giving him the sort of look of the space that few others ever received. And this man gives a very, very strange account of what he encountered on the property. One of the first things he noticed is that there was a room which Epstein referred to as the fertility room. It was about 1,000 square feet and was completely decorated in erotic imagery. I'm talking everything from the crown molding to the pillows to the lamps and everything in between. It was one giant pornographic scene filled with people and, by some reports, animals ding-donging one another. Well, this contractor managed to sneak several pictures of the property out.
I showed you guys that yesterday. Satanic Versus. Honestly, you know what? I'm going to cut this part off right here. You guys go watch that video. Watch it. Watch the whole thing after we go through his Manhattan apartment. I mean, which one do you want to go through? You want to go through the New York Post version, the Den of Depravity, or you want to go through the New York Times one, the Manhattan layer? 7-story townhouse, hosted elites, displayed photos. It's all the same stuff, but honestly, I think due to the fact that they have this picture on the front, which is probably is a little bit more eye-catching, we're gonna go with this one, dude. Okay. So as a gift for Jeffrey Epstein's 63rd birthday, friends sent letters in tribute to the wealthy financier and convicted sex offender. Several shared a common theme, recounting the dinner gatherings and that Mr. Epstein regularly hosted at his palatial townhouse on Manhattan's Upper East Side. Barak, former Prime Minister of Israel, and his wife noted the great diversity of guests. There's no limit to your curiosity, they wrote in their message, which was compiled with others in January 2016. You are like a closed book to many of them, but you know everything about everyone. Again, people think this guy's like some dumbbell who just knew how to traffic kids. This is not who this person was, dude. If people thought of him as kind of dumb, that is probably exactly what he wanted them to think of him. I'm convinced of that now. The media mogul Mortimer Zuckerman suggested ingredients for a meal that would reflect the culture of the mansion. A simple salad and whatever else would enhance Jeffrey's sexual performance. Media mogul Mortimer Zuckerman. Wow, that is really gross. Oh, weird. And actually, let me just do this. Watch this. Let's scratch an itch, dude. Okay, let's Google that name and allegations. Let's just see, dude. No way. No way. No way. No fucking way. Of course, dude. Okay, Leon Black, remember him? Wired Jeffrey Epstein $180 million over 6 years. Leon Black drags Mort Zuckerman into legal battle with Russian model. He may be gearing up to drag some of his fellow billionaires into this messy legal battle with a woman who has accused him of rape, including Mort Zuckerman, the real estate developer behind the U.S. News and World Report, the Post has learned. See, all these guys own all the media. They own the media. These same people own all the media. This is, of course, this. She says that there were several billionaires who were threatening her, might be involved in a conspiracy against her, including a reference that the Post has confirmed is to Zuckerman. Okay, so let's see what happened to this girl. Let's see what happened to her. I swear to God, if this girl, I am literally going to fall out of my chair, dude. I don't know. Let's just see. Let's see what it says. She's still alive. Okay. But of course her lawsuit got dismissed, So he won, guys. Don't worry. He won, Don't worry. But now he faces a defamation suit. Oh my God. I'm going to go every time I even pull on a string, I end up going down a rabbit hole. I apologize for that. Anyway. The director Woody Allen described how the dinners reminded him of Dracula's castle. Oh, hey, anybody remember any scandals with Woody Allen? Let's see if we can find any, dude. Woody Allen, scandal, something about a stepdaughter. All right, here we go. Woody Allen was alleged by actress Mia Farrow to have you see that word, right, guys? Can you see that? Okay. That's when you touch a child very inappropriately. Their adopted daughter, Dylan Farrow, then aged 7. Okay. Allen repeatedly denied the allegation and was investigated, dismissed by the judge in the custody case. But then Allen and Mia Farrow were romantic, yada, yada. And then, where's the girl? Then Allen and Soon Yi Priven, who Farrow adopted with her former husband, began a sexual relationship in December of 1991. Right. So then he ended up in a sexual relationship with another adopted daughter. So, hey, guys, don't worry. It's really shocking that you can connect Woody Allen to Jeffrey Epstein. This is a letter from him. I'm sorry, I got to read this, dude. Being neighbors, my wife, seen ye, and I have been invited for dinner many times. Always accept, always interesting, wide variety of interesting people at every dinner. We talk about politicians, scientists, and teachers, and magicians, comedians, intellectuals, journalists, concert pianists. Anyway, interesting time. Food is scrumptious. Female. Wait, it reminds me of a Castle Dracula where Lugosi has 3 young female vampires who service the place. Add to this that Jeffrey lives in a vast house alone. One can picture him sleeping in damp earth. But back to the food, dependably, Jesus, this is just like, this is wild, dude. Epstein's prized property was no gloomy Transylvanian fortress. He had spent years turning the 7-story, 21,000 square foot townhouse into a place where he could flaunt and deepen his connections with the rich and powerful, even as hints of his dark side lurked within, according to previously undisclosed photos and documents showing how he lived in his later years. Okay. So let's see if there are any more pictures. Oh, here you go. Him and Ghislaine with the Pope. Him and I don't think that's Ghislaine right there. I think that might be Hillary Clinton. I can't tell. Just pictures of them with all the rich and wait, what the? Whoa. More. Oh, hey, look at that one, dude. Him and Bill Clinton, best friends, guys. Best friends. Who's that guy? Oh, weird. And then check it out, guys. Let me make this up there. That is the Virgin Mobile guy. I don't know who this dude is. Oh, Larry Summers. Of course. Larry Summers. You guys may recall him from the architect and defender of derivative trading, which ended up collapsing the American economy in 2008. Epstein and Trump there. This is insane. This is insane. This is insane. He had the original first green edition of Lolita, 1955. You have any idea how much that book costs? And it's an intellectual. It's about an intellectual develops a sexual obsession with a 12-year-old girl and repeatedly rapes her. Of course he would have that, dude. I mean, this is insanity, dude. And then look, cameras everywhere. See that? Cameras everywhere. Okay, second camera can be seen in an adjoining room. Yep. I mean, honestly, you got to assume that there are cameras in most, I mean, not most, but lots of houses. Lots of houses. It's unbelievable how easy it is to outfit your house with cameras. I mean, like, our entire house is outfitted with cameras. Not our guest rooms or anything, but like, there's no other, I mean, our bedroom and our guest bedrooms have no cameras. Outside of that, if you're in our house, you're on camera. But, you know, this is just wild, man. Holy shit, I've been going too long. All right, I love you guys. Subscribe to the channel, ring the bell. I got a lot more Epstein stuff coming.